This is Inside Mside, your favorite podcast for all things Morningside. Here's stories from students, alumni, faculty, and more about what makes the Morningside experience so special.
Welcome to another edition of Inside Mside. My name is Bailey. I'm stepping in for Alex on this interview. And this week, or this episode, we have Vernon Simmons joining us. Vernon is an Morningside alum, M Club Hall of Famer, list goes on. 1983 graduate of Morningside. And Vernon, I guess let's start with the recent news, which was your induction into the Minnesota Basketball Coaches Association Hall of Fame. What was that ceremony like for you a couple weeks ago to have that honor?
I would say more than anything, it was kind of unexpected. I kind of tend to think of things like that as, I kind of equate that with getting old.
For sure.
And, I still feel like I got a lot left in the tank. So I would say that it was kind of really unexpected, but you're greatly appreciative of it.
Yeah, and stepping back, tell me a little bit more about kind of how you wound up at Morningside, the story of you coming and getting here, and then obviously your time here at Morningside.
Well, everything for me goes back to Coach Callahan. I was recruited by Coach Callahan, and everything, pretty much from that point forward, as far as basketball-wise, basically traces back to him. I think, thinking back on being here, man, that was such a long time ago. I can recall there was 3 TV stations, and they all went off the air at 10 o'clock. We didn't have cable, with no cell phones or anything like that. And so it was a very different experience, as far as, you didn't have any of the luxuries that the students have today.
Sure.
Being here, graduating, meeting, my spouse and, raising a family and actually starting a career here before relocating to Minnesota. So, this is still home to me, coming back here. I get in, 4, 5, 6 times a year, but, it's still home. I'm not here, but I'm still here.
For sure. And tell me a little bit more about Coach Callahan bringing you in here and what that recruiting experience was like for you and what it was like to be here and play for him in that time.
We're, going back that period of time, we're talking about the North Central Conference. At that time, if not the best, it was the second best athletic conference in the country. Playing here, I don't got to describe Morningside to you guys. You guys know what the experience here is. We were kind of the little guys, and we're constantly fighting the bullies.
Yeah.
The thing about being here with coaches, I never felt or thought that there wasn't a game that we couldn't win. I always thought that he had a game plan, and part of being a point guard is to go out and execute the game plan. I never went into a game not thinking that we were prepared. And I look back on it, reflecting on it. My senior year, we're in the Final Four, Division II. We went to conference, and I think back to my sophomore year, we were actually one game away from being in the tournament. And so I have nothing, when it comes to coach, like I said, everything I learned, I kind of learned from him.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I would say that I pretty much took the Callahan playbook.
and that obviously had a lot of success for you as a coach as well, with 9 state tournament appearances up at St. Paul Johnson state championship.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess kind of how did that, being able to be under Coach Callahan and learn from him influence your coaching in your career?
Well, again, Coach was, and I kind of alluded to this in, in the speech that I gave in Minnesota. I really didn't have a traditional take in getting involved in coaching. In fact, I didn't want to do it. And the reason I say that is because I pretty much started all 4 years since I've got here. I played every game. I believe I was quoted over 100 games, and so when you have those many contests with one man, okay, I think if anybody know the guy, I think I do.
For sure.
And so I reflect on all the things that he had to do just to keep our program going. Because he was a man of many hats. He's coach. But it was more than coaching. He was a bus driver, van driver, all that stuff too. It was. And so when my reflection on it was, what, I don't want to do all that. It was enough going to school, it was enough playing, and just to graduating. And I think back, I was the guy, especially my senior year. I was the last guy to come to practice, and I was the first to leave. And it's just when you get 4 years of it, you're kind of tired of the grind, and you're ready. You just want to stop. You just want to be, you want to be normal. And so I thought about that. It took me, it took me some time to actually grasp and to actually go in and do it, and only because I knew what I was going to have to do if I threw my hat in the ring. Yeah.
And when you played here, Division II era, you had completely different rivalries than we have nowadays. I mean, you guys weren't playing the Northwesterns and the Bradcliffs. You're playing, South Dakota State, August State, those. So, I mean, what was that like to play some of those bigger schools you mentioned earlier and having to play the big dogs and compete with those schools, so to speak?
Again, I refer to them as the bullies. Because they're bigger schools, obviously had the more resources, and so when we would play, we always kind of played with a chip on our shoulders, and I mean they knew that when they came to Ali Gymnasium that this was not going to be easy coming in here. But that's just part of, to me, that was the culture of Morningside. You were just not just going to pick on us.
Yeah.
And I would say what I learned most was this, is that we could always compete with them. We could play. But where we kind of fell off, we just didn't have the depth if it's what they had. In particular, I think back at the football games. North Dakota State would come down here, and it'd be 4 buses of them. And then you look over there, they're like 4 deep at every position. And I look at our guys. We're maybe 2. 3 is a reach. Mm-hmm. And, we'd play tough the first half, and then, the second half, it was just attrition. You were just going to wear it out, and that's where the game would get away from it.
Yeah.
But that's I thought it was the same way, I guess, for us in basketball. It's just that, basketball, you don't need the bodies, and you can hang in there a lot more. Yeah.
For sure. And what was kind of maybe your favorite? What's your favorite memory or your biggest takeaway from your time here, your 4 years here at Morningside?
My biggest takeaway?
Yeah.
Was during the 4 years here, we were, during that period of time, we were able to win on the road against everybody in the conference.
And to be able to do that, I mean, and we were just talking about how tough everybody was to be able to go on the road and go to some of those arenas like a Frost Arena or Dakota Dome at the time, those places. it's not easy places to win. So that's quite an accomplishment for you guys in that time.
Yeah. And Frost Arena was, that was the senior year we went in there and won. I was like, you just don't know how that felt. 4 years and going that was probably the toughest gym to play in.
For sure.
And to actually win in there is this,
Mm-hmm. It meant a lot, I'm sure.
Yeah.
What is being, so now you're an M Club Hall of Famer, a Minnesota Basketball Coaches Hall of Famer. Did you ever see yourself getting these type of accolades? When you first stepped on campus here, did you ever see yourself as a Hall of Famer, both as a player here and then as a coach after being here?
No, that was not my goals. My goals, was say, college, degree, wife, family. And so I had accomplished those by the time I left here. I was married, I had my family, and I had a career. I was in law enforcement, and so everything was good there. I was really content. Which really got me into basketball is to moving to a community, and Johnson High School is basically, it's Minnesota, it's a hockey school. The guys that played basketball at Johnson High School these were the guys who didn't make the hockey team. They sent them over to play basketball. So I'm at a school that where obviously there was some basketball talent there, and it just didn't have the structure or the culture to direct it. Mm-hmm. And there was more of I couldn't stand there and just watch and do nothing. I had to do something, and that was to get involved.
How did your time, in law enforcement, eventually becoming the school resource officer, how did that help you when it came to becoming a coach and coaching, those high school guys?
Yeah. It helped me in the sense of I would see these guys. I would, in particular, I'm involved in the community. I actually lived in the same neighborhood. Mm-hmm. So I actually moved there so that, if you're going to see me, it's just not that I'm just going to show up, coach, and be gone.
For sure.
So for me, where I was going with it is once you become coach, but you also work in the community. Not only do you see them in the gym, but you see them outside the gym. You see the families, siblings, and you get to know the whole family dynamics, and you become part of that whole picture. Mm-hmm. And then in particular for kids at Johnson, at that point they know, well, what, he's going to be here. Yeah. And so you get you get more involved with them in not only say coaching, but also in their lives and in the community and then so forth, even once they've gone off to college.
And did Coach Callahan, when you were here, kind of also influence that part of you, that feeling of, we're not just showing up to be a basketball coach, we're showing up to be a member of this person's family and a part of this person's life outside of basketball?
And that's why I say I got to give credit where credit is due. Mm-hmm. Okay, so because I always felt that I'm kind of a byproduct. Okay, I learned this from something.
For sure.
Most of I've learned it from my own experience, and like I was hoping to get the coach to come show up with me this morning. Mm-hmm. But he's not in town today. So, but I've said I just particularly took what I went through, what was given to me, and gave it back. Mm-hmm. And it's like I was telling Coach, I said, I said I took the playbook and I took it to Minnesota, and I've won here at Morningside. I've won there, and the playbook works.
Yeah,
it works.
And what kind of led you to becoming a coach? I mean, you talked about how you didn't initially want to do that. That wasn't a part of your life's plan. What was kind of the one thing or one moment maybe where you realized, you know what, I want to step up and coach these young guys and be a part of their lives?
There was one that I had a player. His name was Damar Suggs. In fact, he's a cousin of Terrell Suggs of the the Ravens, and he was by far probably the best player that I've coached. And at that time I wasn't coaching. I never coached him, but he was in the building, and I was the school resource officer, and I would be around, and sometimes after practice we would play, and then watching him play, and then him looking over at me asking me what to do, and it's like, hey, I'm not the coach. That was the point. After his last year, I says, I just can't stand here and do nothing.
Sure.
And at that point in time, the position came open, and I said, well, I know a little bit about basketball. I was just, I didn't really go in depth to it, but I says, well, I said, I'll give it a shot. I had to get permission first. I got to take that back. The wife had to say it was okay to do it first, and then after she gave me permission, then the rest kind of took off from there, because I think she knew that part of being coaching is during the season you're not around, you're gone, and I think pivotal to what our success is. We were kind of playing catch up, and once we started, we didn't particularly stop until football. And the football was okay. Go play football.
Sure. How did Morningside prepare you for your life as a school resource officer, but then also as a basketball coach? How did Morningside help you prepare for that moment or that time in your life?
Well, I would say how to prepare me. I mean, it made me grow up. It made me be accountable. Okay, either it gets done or it don't get done.
For sure.
Okay, either you studied or you didn't study. It made you break things down in life into that simple. No matter what you said or what your rational reason was, it was at the end of the conversation. Did it get done or did it not get done? Mm-hmm. Yeah, did you stop that guy or did you not stop that guy?
For sure.
So it's just really just being accountable. Just saying, and this is not going to be easy, and it requires quite a bit of work on your part if if it's going to get done. Mm-hmm. And then in the end, you get back what you put in.
For sure. I don't think I got any more questions for you. I don't know if you have any final thoughts on just your time at Morningside and everything that you've been able to do because of your time here.
My thoughts is just, it doesn't, just being on campus and, coming back every now and then, I make it back to homecoming, every other year it seems, and I get to see some of my old, classmates, some of my old teammates, and it's a far different world was when I got here. A far different world.
For sure.
And the whole thing about the North Central Conference and all that, it's just okay. It's just simple economics. It's just the resources for what them schools, because they were saying D1 back when I was there. They were trying to move the conference D1 if, so it was just a matter of time. And so, but no, this is probably where Morningside. This is going in the right directions, if you ask me.
Sure. Well, thank you for joining us on this chilly morning here, and we really do appreciate it. So, thank you for giving us some time today.
No problem.
All right.
All right.